Pink slip ready. What Desantis just unveiled confirms why Strzok should be out the door by US4Trump.com. A few hours ago, Representative Ron Desantis joined Fox and Friends for an honest explanation of Lisa Page and Peter Strzok testimonies. Additionally, Desantis announced that Lisa Page will be back on Monday to continue the closed-door deposition. It appears that Lisa Page is cooperating with the congressional oversight committees, and in direct contrast, Peter Strzok is not cooperating. Furthermore, during the segment, it was reported that Lisa Page is giving Congress more information. Specifically, the question becomes, what implication does this have for her other half of the anti-Trump FBI duo, Peter Strzok? Desantis says she was actually willing to answer questions. With Peter Strzok, as you guys saw on national television, as we have seen when we did the deposition with him, it was like pulling teeth. He was always very coy. He didn't want to really answer a lot of the questions. He claims he wanted to, but just said he wasn't able to. Yeah, right. The Florida representative who is running for governor continues, so the cooperation was much different, and I think when she comes back on Monday, hopefully we will get all the rest of the questions answered. Fox News tweets Representative DeSantis, I think Strzok's testimony really left a lot of Americans frustrated because he was not honest, not credible in explaining his actions, and yet he's still on the payroll of the FBI. Why is he still getting a paycheck from the American taxpayer? Very good question. Let's take a quick listen here.
That's Lisa Page, one half of the anti-Trump FBI lovebirds, taking to Capitol Hill a day after Peter Strzok for her own closed-door grilling.
GOP lawmakers revealing that Page has given them new information and that she's cooperating with their questioning.
So what implications could this have for Strzok and the Russia investigation? Florida Congressman and gubernatorial candidate Ron Desantis joins us now. Sir, thanks for being here with us. An interesting reaction to Lisa Page's comments on the Hill. It wasn't all negative. There was actually some positivity coming out of Republican mouths with regard to what she said.
Well, it's because she was actually willing to answer questions. I mean, with Peter Strzok, as you guys saw on national TV, as we had seen when we did the deposition of him, it was like pulling teeth. He was always very coy. He didn't want to really answer a lot of the questions he claims he wanted to, but said he just wasn't able to. So the cooperation was much different, and I think when she comes back on Monday, hopefully we'll get all the rest of the questions answered. And I think Strzok's testimony really left a lot of Americans frustrated because he was not honest, he was not credible in explaining his actions, and yet he's still on the payroll of the FBI.
Yeah.
Why is he still getting a paycheck from the American taxpayer? He should not be there anymore. He doesn't have credibility, and he needs to move on. And obviously, he may have to face additional justice beyond that, but it's just amazing that he's still there.
It sure is, and we will get to that in a second. But is Lisa Page on Monday? Is she testifying publicly? If not, should she?
No, it's going to be continuation of the deposition. And look,
there's something that's so much more powerful about public. I mean, Peter Strzok being out in the open, exposing himself for who he is powerful. It's cleansing for the American public. Is there any way to get maybe the candor of Lisa Page before cameras?
Well, I've been a big supporter of releasing the transcripts if you're going to do a deposition. The difference between the deposition, Pete, is as you saw at the hearing, I mean, it can kind of become a circus-like atmosphere. You have 5 minutes to question. In a deposition, you actually let people develop a line of questions. And so it's just a different format, but sometimes that format is better. But I think at a minimum, the transcript needs to be released to the American people, absolutely.
Congressman, you mentioned that Peter Strzok is still on the FBI payroll. He also still has a security clearance. Who is to blame for that? Is that the Trump administration?
The FBI?
The FBI? Who is to blame for that?
Well, I think we need to know he had the security clearance at least for the purpose of reviewing documents to prepare for the hearing. And so I think what we just need to figure out was it a limited clearance just so he could prepare himself, That's one thing. If he still has his security clearance after all this, that's obviously a huge problem, because there are people who have their security clearances yanked for doing far less than Peter Strzok has done, and it just kind of feeds into this thing. He still has a job. Why isn't he being held accountable to the extent that he should based on his conduct? So the FBI needs to answer that question.
How could he be held accountable? I mean, watch his answers, you watch his non-answers, how do you hold a guy like Peter Strzok accountable?
Well, in the Congress, if witnesses are just non-responsive, I mean, we can move to hold them in contempt of Congress. That's a legitimate use of our authority. I've been arguing we needed to use that and other tools. We have not necessarily had a critical mass. Maybe the frustration out of Strzok, people will say, okay, we had these 10 questions that you hemmed and hawed about. You're in front of the Congress. We want answers. If not, we're going to hold you in contempt. If you have a sanction, then people will comply. But if they know they can get away with it, like Lois Lerner did with the IRS, then they're going to continue to do this stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Ron DeSantis, Congressman from Florida, maybe a future governor. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
You got it.
Moreover, DeSantis would like to see the release of the Lisa Page deposition transcripts released to the American people. He believes in complete transparency. Furthermore, DeSantis makes the point that if Congress would lay down the sanctions, as in holding Strzok in contempt of Congress, then maybe officials would not continue to hem and haw. Specifically, he was talking about the way that Lois Lerner pleads the fifth during the IRS scandal, and Strzok refusing to answer questions during his public hearing. Well, at least she's cooperating, and they're going to get down to the bottom of it. And what he did say was, in the closed-door meeting, it wasn't like your time is up. They could get more information through this kind of a hearing in closed doors, but he is for releasing the transcript to the American people, which is terrific on that front. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and again, thank you so much for watching.